Imagine waking up with no roof over your head, no food waiting in the kitchen, and no phone to call for help. The ground beneath you is cold, damp, and crawling with life you'd rather not think about. Your clothes, just the skin on your back. The air stinks of smoke and animal musk. Somewhere in the distance, something growls, low, deep, and far too close for comfort. The sun hasn't fully risen, but your survival clock already started ticking. And the truth is, in the prehistoric world, you wouldn't make it past tonight. The first thing that hits you is the cold. Not the kind you feel when you forget your jacket in winter. This is a wet, bone-deep cold that clings to you like a second skin. Your breath fogs in the dim light. You blink, trying to orient yourself, but the world feels wrong. The ground beneath you isn't smooth. It's lumpy, uneven, scattered with sticks and stones that jab into your side. There's no bed, no mattress, no blanket. Your home is nothing more than a shallow rock overhang, just enough to keep the rain off your head. Outside, the sun is only a faint glow on the horizon. The air smells of damp earth and old smoke, and somewhere nearby, you hear the slow crack of branches, heavy footsteps, deliberate and patient. Your stomach growls, but you have no fridge, no stove, not even a can of beans to open. If you want food, you'll have to find it yourself. And you have no idea what is safe to eat or what will kill you in hours. Your body, used to years of comfortable beds, climate control, and processed meals, is already struggling. The Stone Age was not designed for the modern human frame. You feel sluggish, thirsty, and exposed. Every sense feels raw. And here's the worst part. You are alone. Even if you shout, there's no guarantee anyone will hear you. And if they do, you can't be sure they'll help. In this world, strangers don't mean safety, they mean danger. As the sun starts to creep higher, you realize something chilling. This isn't just a bad morning. This is the start of a fight you can't win. You don't have the tools, the knowledge, or the instincts to survive here. In the prehistoric world, it's about to show you exactly why. The first star in the Stone Age is not about thriving. It's about not dying. You take your first cautious steps outside the shelter. The ground is slick from last night's rain, and every surface seems designed to trip you. Sharp stones cut into the soles of your bare feet. Insects, bold and unafraid, crawl over your skin. There's no escape from them. They're in the dirt, in the air, and probably in your hair. You try to get your bearings, but the landscape feels alien. The forest ahead is dense and shadowed, its trees twisted like watchful sentinels. The open plains behind you stretch endlessly, but you can feel eyes on you if you stand there too long. In the distance, something moves, too large to be a deer, too quiet to be harmless. The sounds are constant, the low hum of insects, the snap of a branch, the faint rush of a river somewhere you can't see. Your modern mind wants to filter it out, but here, ignoring noise is a death sentence. Every sound could mean predator or prey, and you're not at the top of the food chain. Thirst hits quickly. In your world, it's a mild inconvenience, a walk to the kitchen, a twist of a tap. Here, water could mean life or death. You spot a small pool nearby, its surface rippling from a gentle breeze. You kneel, ready to drink, but hesitation stops you cold. In the prehistoric world, that water could be teeming with parasites and bacteria that your untrained immune system can't handle. One gulp could doom you in days. The irony is sharp. In a world overflowing with nature's resources, you can't trust any of them. And as you're kneeling there, the air changes. It's subtle, the smell of damp leaves mixing with something metallic and sour. You freeze. Instinct whispers what you don't want to admit. Something nearby has been hunting, and it might be looking for you next. The shift from safe to hunted happens in seconds. You hear it again. The deliberate crunch of weight on wet leaves. It's not the clumsy shuffle of a deer, nor the quick dart of a rabbit. This is slow, heavy, and patient. Somewhere, something has already decided you might be breakfast. Your pulse spikes. Your breath comes shallow. In the modern world, danger is often theoretical, a news headline, a warning sign. Here, it's tangible. You can feel it pressing in from the shadows. You scan the tree line. For a moment, nothing. Then, just barely, movement, the flicker of muscle, a glint of eyes catching early sunlight. Whatever it is, it's big enough to bring you down in one strike. Your instincts scream, run. But run where? The forest is a maze of roots and low branches waiting to tear into your skin. The plains leave you exposed, every step a signal to anything watching. And you have no weapons, no fire, no backup. Early humans would have been armed, spears carved from wood, stone blades sharpened by hours of labor, fire-hardened sticks. They didn't leave the safety of a camp without them. You have nothing but your bare hands, soft from years of typing on keyboards or holding steering wheels. So you do what any prey animal does. Move quietly. You step backwards, eyes locked on the tree line, every nerve straining for sound. The predator doesn't advance. It just watches, waiting for the right moment. Then, a distant call, sharp, guttural. The creature shifts, attention snapping away. In that instant, you turn and move, heart hammering. You're not escaping. You're just postponing the inevitable. By the time the sun fully crests the horizon, you've already learned the first rule of the Stone Age. Morning's dawn tea start with coffee. They start with the question, am I still alive? The prehistoric world doesn't care if you're cold, scared, or unprepared. It doesn't care that you grew up in a world of grocery stores, heaters, and internet safety tips. Out here, there's only one law: adapt fast or vanish. The forest looms ahead, thick with shadows even in daylight. It's beautiful in the way a trap can be beautiful, green and alive, yet full of teeth. Vines hang low, some harmless, some coated in invisible toxins that will blister your skin. The ground is a tangle of roots ready to twist your ankle. And overhead, birds scream warnings that you don't understand, but every predator does. Then there's the climate. It's not just hot or cold, it's extremes. The sun burns without mercy, cooking your skin within hours. The rain soaks you to the bone, leaching heat from your body until your fingers turn numb. The prehistoric air is thicker, heavy with pollen, spores, and scents your modern nose can't name, some alluring, some lethal. Water is everywhere and nowhere. Streams trickle between rocks. But they're unpredictable. They flood without warning, and they hide predators of their own. Crocodilians, massive and patient, lurk in shallows, their eyes just breaking the surface. A single misstep, and you're gone. And then there is the sound you can't stop noticing, the constant rustle of something moving just out of sight. Sometimes it's harmless, a rodent, a bird. Other times, it's a cat the size of a small horse, muscles rippling beneath for pattern for perfect camouflage. The truth is, this world isn't wild the way we think of it now. It's alive in a way that's hostile to you by default. Every leaf, every shadow, every breeze carries risk, and as you push deeper, the forest seems to close in, as if testing how far you're willing to go before it claims you. The forest has eyes, not just one pair, dozens, watching from every angle. In this world, you are never truly alone. Even when you think you're alone, you're not. Modern humans have lost an ancient instinct, the ability to feel when they're being watched. Early humans could sense the weight of a predator's gaze long before they saw it. You, however, don't notice until the evidence is undeniable. The faint shimmer of movement between trees, the crunch of something pacing your steps from a distance. Your mind races through possibilities. Could it be a big cat, a pack of hyenas, maybe even a rival human group? You realize something unsettling. No matter what it is, you're not the hunter here. In the prehistoric hierarchy, predators don't waste energy chasing prey they can't catch. They study you, test you, push you toward mistakes. A misplaced footstep here, a stumble there, signs of weakness they'll file away until the perfect moment. The terrain doesn't help. The forest floor dips suddenly into ravines hidden by ferns. Dead branches snap underfoot, broadcasting your location. The air feels thicker, harder to breathe, not just because of the humidity, but because your chest is tightening with the knowledge that you can't outrun what's following you. Early humans traveled in groups for a reason. A single person is a walking target. A tribe could stand its ground, scare off predators, or at least watch each other's backs. Alone, you have no one to cover your blind spots. The rustling gets louder, closer. Then, silence, the kind of silence that's heavier than noise, you know you're being sized up. You can't see the predator, but it can see you perfectly, somewhere ahead. A branch snaps, somewhere behind, leaves shift. You realize, too late, that whatever's hunting you isn't hunting alone. The first raindrop feels almost welcome, cool against your overheated skin. But in the prehistoric world, rain is rarely gentle. Within minutes, the sky opens up like a burst dam. Sheets of water hammer the canopy, turning dirt into slippery mud and streams into torrents. The noise is deafening, masking the sounds of anything approaching. You've lost your best warning system. Early humans had shelters, huts of woven branches, caves carefully chosen for their height above floodlines. You have nothing. The downpour soaks your clothes, stealing body heat even in warm weather. Hypothermia isn't just a winter problem here. It's a constant threat whenever the rain refuses to stop. Visibility drops to almost nothing. Shapes blur. Shadows stretch in strange ways. The forest, already dangerous, becomes a labyrinth of hazards you can't see. You slip more than once, catching yourself on rough bark that rips at your hands. Each cut is an open invitation to infection, and here, infections kill quickly. Then comes the wind. It whips through the trees, sending branches crashing down without warning. Early humans knew to avoid certain groves during storms. They'd seen too many of their own crushed beneath falling wood. You're learning that lesson in real time, flinching at every crack above you. And the predators? The rain doesn't stop them. If anything, it gives them an advantage. The smell of wet earth hides their scent. The roar of water drowns the sound of their approach. Somewhere out there, whatever was stalking you before could be just a few steps away. Invisible until it's too late. By the time the rain finally eases, the damage is done. You're drenched, freezing, and your muscles ache from hours of tension. The prehistoric world doesn't need to kill you outright. It just needs to wear you down until you can fight back. And right now, it's doing exactly that. In the modern world, food is always there. A trip to the supermarket, a tap on your phone, and dinner arrives at your doorstep. But in the Stone Age, finding food was a battle, often a deadly one. You're hungry now, the kind of hunger that gnaws at your gut, sharp and unforgiving. But hunting or gathering isn't a leisurely stroll. It's a calculated risk. One false move, one wrong choice, and you become the hunted instead of the hunter. Imagine stalking through dense brush, your eyes trained on a distant movement, a deer, maybe, or a wild boar. Your hands grip a crude spear, the tip sharpened by stone. But it's nothing like the weapons you see in movies. It's heavy, clumsy, and requires perfect timing. Miss, and your target bolts, or worse, turns to fight. But prey animals aren't the only danger. Predators know the same forests, the same watering holes. A tiger-sized cat could be lying in wait just beyond your line of sight, watching your every move. Some hunts ended not with a meal, but with a quick death. Even gathering was risky. Berries and roots might look safe, but many were poisonous. Early humans learned through trial and error, sometimes fatal. You can't just pick any fruit without knowing if it will kill you hours later. And there's another chilling truth. The hunt often turned on the humans themselves. Rival tribes could ambush you, hoping to steal your catch or your life. Being caught off guard in the wild meant certain death. So every hunt was a gamble, a tense dance between life and death, where the stakes couldn't be higher. Early humans didn't have guns or traps. Their weapons were raw, brutal, and born from sheer necessity. Stone-tipped spears, sharpened sticks, and slings made from animal sinew. Tools crafted with blood, sweat, and the constant threat of failure. But weaponry was only half the battle. Hunting was a test of patience and instinct. You'd spend hours tracking prey, following broken branches, footprints in the mud, or the faint smell of blood. One wrong sound, a cracked twig, a rushed breath, and your quarry would vanish in seconds. When you finally closed in, the danger skyrocketed. The prey fought back, claws slashing, tusks goring, hooves trampling. There was no guarantee you'd come away alive. Many early humans bore scars, not from rival tribes, but from the animals they hunted. And it wasn't just the animals. Predators lurking nearby were watching every move, ready to pounce the moment you looked vulnerable. The hunt was a three-way battle: hunter, prey, and predator. You might think cooperation would make it easier, but group hunts carried their own risks. A misstep by one could spell disaster for all, yet without teamwork, the chances of success and survival plummeted. Early humans developed complex strategies, ambushes, coordinated attacks, distractions, skills that took generations to perfect. It was survival training on a scale you can barely imagine today. Still, every hunt ended with a mix of relief and dread. Relief for the meal one, dread for the next time you have to risk it all again. Sometimes, the hunt turned deadly for the hunter. You've just lunged at a wild boar. Spear aimed true, but the beast isn't finished. It charges, tusks flashing like knives, and you barely dodge the crushing blow. Your heart pounds not from exertion, but raw terror. Prehistoric animals weren't just prey, they were forces of nature with no fear of humans. Injuring one could mean provoking a violent, desperate fight. Many early humans met their end not in battle with rival tribes, but at the jaws or claws of the creatures they sought to kill. And it wasn't just animals. Rival tribes sometimes used the hunt as a trap. Ambushes in the dense forest turned the tables on careless hunters, turning them into victims. Trust was scarce and betrayal brutal. The forest held its own justice, one misstep, one lost footing, and you could fall into a hidden pit or over a sharp rock face. Injuries in the wild were often fatal. Infections ran rampant, and there were no doctors to patch you up. In this brutal world, the hunter's life was a fragile thread stretched taut by every step and every breath. The tension was relentless, the stakes nothing less than life or death. So next time you bite into a meal without a second thought, remember the reality behind it, the countless hours spent facing down death itself just to survive. One more day. Survival in the Stone Age wasn't just about fighting nature, it was about navigating people. The tribe was everything. It was your family, your protection, your source of food, and your judge. But life inside a prehistoric group was far from peaceful. Tribal law was unwritten, but absolute. Rules were enforced with brutal efficiency. Because the tribe's survival depended on every member pulling their weight, laziness, theft, or disobedience weren't just frowned upon, they could mean exile or worse. The social hierarchy was clear. Leaders made decisions, hunters brought food. Gatherers provided plants and medicine, and the weak or sick had roles if they were useful. Everyone had a place, and stepping out of line threatened the delicate balance. Trust was a precious commodity. Betrayal could come from a jealous rival, a desperate member, or even an outsider. Strangers were viewed with suspicion, often hostility, because every unknown face was a potential threat to the tribe's safety and resources. Yet cooperation was vital. Sharing food, watching each other's backs during hunts, and passing down knowledge were the threads holding the tribe together. Without it, no one survived long. The consequences of breaking tribal law were harsh. Punishments ranged from physical violence to banishment, the latter often a death sentence in a world where lone survival was nearly impossible. In this world, your modern manners and laws wouldn't save you. You'd need to understand and live by the tribe's brutal code or risk becoming an enemy within. Tribal life was a delicate dance between cooperation and conflict. On the surface, everyone worked together to survive hunting, gathering, protecting the group. But beneath that unity simmered rivalries fueled by jealousy, competition for status, and fear. Leaders weren't just respected, they had to constantly prove their strength and wisdom. A weak chief could lose power overnight, sometimes violently. Challenges for leadership could erupt into brutal fights, where the loser was either banished or worse. Alliances within the tribe could shift like quicksand. Friendships might turn to betrayal if resources grew scarce or if someone saw a chance to climb higher in the social ladder. Strangers, outsiders to the tribe, were met with suspicion and often hostility. A visitor might be welcomed in stories, but in reality, they were threats, carriers of disease, spies from rival groups, or opportunists hoping to steal food or women. Trust was earned through actions, not words. Punishments were swift and merciless. Theft could lead to public humiliation or physical punishment. Repeated offenses meant exile, a fate worse than death, because alone you stood no chance. Yet, the The tribe wasn't just a source of danger. It was the only safety net in a world that would crush the solitary wanderer. Cooperation meant shared knowledge how to track animals, which plants could heal wounds, and where to find shelter. Every decision, every interaction, was a matter of survival. One misstep socially could cost you your life. Outsiders didn't just face suspicion, they faced brutal consequences. Imagine stumbling into a tribe you don't belong to. Your clothes are torn, your body marked by the wild. You're desperate for shelter, food, or even just a chance to catch your breath. But the tribe's eyes aren't filled with mercy, they see a threat. Some outsiders were allowed in, yes, but only after rigorous tests. You might be expected to prove your worth through hunting, gathering, or fighting. Failure meant exile, or worse, acceptance was a fragile prize, dependent on your ability to adapt instantly to the tribe's harsh rules. And the price of betrayal was high. Outcasts faced the same wilderness you fled, but with fewer chances, alone. Without a tribe's protection, your odds of survival plummet. Exposure to predators, starvation, and disease became daily threats. Tribal politics weren't just about survival, they were about power and control. Members schemed, formed alliances, and undermined rivals to secure their place. A misstep in the social game could mean losing everything. Modern humans pride themselves on rules and justice, but in the Stone Age, law was raw and ruthless, a tool to keep order in chaos, not to protect rights. If you think your worst workplace politics are brutal, imagine the stakes when a single bad decision could get you killed. Nightfall in the prehistoric world was more than darkness, it was a plunge into pure terror. The sun dips below the horizon, and with it, the thin veil of safety disappears. No street lights, no walls, no alarms, just endless black, pierced only by the flickering glow of a small fire, your tribe's fragile lifeline. Your eyes struggle to adjust. Shapes shift in the shadows, sounds grow louder and more mysterious. Every crack of a twig, every whisper of the wind becomes a possible threat. Predators awake at dusk. Big cats with eyes like glowing embers, wolves howling in the distance, and creatures you've never seen but instinctively fear. They move with deadly silence, stalking the edges of your camp. Humans learn to rely on fire to keep these beasts at bay. But fire is fickle. It needs constant feeding, protection from wind and rain, and enough fuel to last the night. Without it, you might as well be prey left out in the open. Even inside the tribe, night brought its own dangers, jealousy, fear, and hunger could ignite violence. The darkness concealed rivalries that daylight masked. A whispered argument could escalate into a brutal fight, and when weapons are sharp stones and bare hands, fights often ended badly. You shiver, not just from the dropping temperature, but from the crushing weight of vulnerability. In this world, sleep is a gamble. You're never truly safe, even in your own tribe. The night tests everything: your courage, your endurance, and your will to survive. For most, it would be the hardest battle of all. The hours crawl by, the fire pops and hisses, throwing strange, twitching shadows across the camp. You hear it, low, deliberate footsteps in the dark, not the rhythmic scuff of a tribesman. Something heavier, predatory. A pair of eyes glints just beyond the reach of the flames. Watching, measuring. Your heartbeat thunders in your ears. You want to grab a burning stick and wave it, but you know the truth. If you break from the group, you're done for. The elders keep their faces still, but their hands tighten on sharpened spears. The young ones huddle closer, the smell of fear thick in the air. And then, chaos. A shriek cuts the night. A shape bursts into the camp, fur, teeth, and rage. Firelight flashes on snapping jaws. The tribe reacts in a violent blur, screams, thrusting spears. The heavy sound of bodies colliding. It's over in seconds, but not clean. A man lies still by the fire, blood pooling beneath him. The predator is gone, melting back into the night, but the damage is done. You realize there's no time to grieve. In this world, the dead are mourned in silence, because the noise might bring more killers. The body will be dealt with at dawn, if you make it to dawn. The rest of the night is a tense, breathless vigil. Your eyes burn from exhaustion, but you dare not sleep. Every sound feels like a countdown to disaster. When the first streak of pale light cuts across the horizon, it feels like a miracle. The danger isn't gone. But for now, the tribe has survived the night, and you're shaking, exhausted, and very aware of one truth. In the Stone Age, surviving the night isn't guaranteed. It's an unending battle between firelight and the dark. Dawn arrives like a fragile promise. The sky shifts from black to bruised purple, then soft pink, but the terror of the night hasn't fully faded. The forest is quiet now, too quiet. As if holding its breath after the violent chaos, you rise on shaky legs, muscles stiff and trembling. The fire's glow flickers weakly, casting long shadows over the fawn. The tribe moves silently, faces pale but alert. No one speaks of the man who didn't he make it. Death is a wound that can't he afford to bleed in this world. But as sunlight spills through the trees, new dangers emerge. Hunger gnaws harder after a night spent on edge. The forest predators retreat for now, but scavengers stir. Vultures circle above, and unseen insects swarm the corpse, turning life into death's next act. You realize that surviving the night was only half the battle. The morning brings its own tests, finding food, avoiding rival tribes, and rebuilding the fragile safety of your group. In this world, every dawn is a reminder that survival is temporary. You might have escaped the darkness, but the Stone Age isn't done with you yet. Surviving just one day in the Stone Age was a brutal, relentless battle against a world designed to break you. No warm beds, no easy meals, no safety nets, just raw nature, fierce predators, and unforgiving tribes. Every moment demanded alertness, strength, and an instinct for danger that modern humans have all but lost. The prehistoric world didn't reward kindness or luck. It demanded resilience, cunning, and sometimes ruthless decisions. So next time you complain about your busy schedule, a cold shower, or a long commute, remember, there was a time when just waking up meant fighting for your life. We've come a long way since then, but the echoes of that fight still live deep inside us, buried beneath layers of comfort and civilization.